last year and being like, God, I'm just exhausted actually. I think another barrier is probably money, and that's related to time and to space as well. But also I think there are things like just having access to people who know stuff and to people who know other people, and you know, like just chatting to like Edward Spall is brilliant. So just to have that new person come in and have those kind of fresh conversations about your work, and also think, because he's a curator and not an artist, that's really interesting as well, because he talks about things in a really different way. So I think just that, like, when you're working and working and working, you don't have the time to go out and find those people to have those conversations with. So everything begins to feel quite limited. So I think that was another thing, was that I kind of wanted Freelands to like open up, to introduce me to those people, and I don't quite know who those people are going to be yet. But that was a big pull, and I think that was another barrier, was just not being able to meet those people.
And you got a sense of what kind of networks and contacts you want to make through the programme?
So not of individual people, but so I'm very interested. I'd like to work with a writer, because firstly I want to incorporate writing into my work a lot more, because I kind of discovered an ability to write while I was on my MA, and then I haven't really done much with that.
Do you mean art writing or contextual?
I'm not really sure. That's the thing, because at the moment the only sort of writing I do is quite reflective writing. And when I made the quilt, part of that was I'd wanted to make a quilt for a really long time, and part of that was because I wanted to try and use text in my work, and that kind of came naturally with the quilt, because we were talking about kind of experiences of being on strike and phrases and stuff like that. But I think probably more sort of narrative art writing, I think, is what that runs parallel to my work, is what I'm quite interested in. I'd also like to work with maybe a sort of bigger range of performers. So I think having the experience of working with Andrea, who's the dancer in Cat's Milk, and the way that she approaches things and the way that she thinks about things, because I am interested in kind of how objects and movement sort of relate. So to work maybe with a dancer or someone who is in some way connected to sound, because I don't really know much about how you even start really doing those things. So, and funny enough, I was at an away day at work the other day that was about well-being, and we got to all these different sessions, and the last session I did was singing for well-being, and it was run by this brilliant man from the music department, who apparently is like the world expert in performance anxiety.
Wow.
I know. I was like, I need to talk to you because I have a lot of performance anxiety. But we were sort of chatting afterwards, and I was thinking, actually, I'd even like to work with someone like him, because I did a piece of work last year where it was a film, and I'd spoke a sort of narrative over it, and I realised how limited my voice is, because I don't really have any control, and because I am interested in sound and in kind of narrative and storytelling, I wanted to kind of understand how you could control that more. So even sort of musicians and singers and stuff like that.
That's really exciting. And the site sort of indicated that you'll be able to choose kind of people you want to invite in, or is it
well, I kind of, it's been quite a slow build-up, I think, with Freelands. I kind of went away over Christmas and I mulled over a lot of what I wanted to do. So a lot of kind of what I'm saying now is stuff that I've thought over Christmas that I haven't spoken to site about yet. But Shana said when she did our studio visit, she was just like, if there's anyone that you want to talk to, just let us know and we'll try and sort something out for you.
Yeah.
So
that's great. And the programme itself, how did you originally find out about it? Do you remember when you heard about the programme?
So Yen knew about it, like ages, I think maybe through some Hallam contact. Yeah, so Yen was actually my tutor when I was on the MA. Yeah, no, it's so weird, and now we're peers. I didn't do very well in his module either, but don't edit that out. And yeah, and then he got the studio next to me, so we kind of became friends. And he, I think, through something to do with Hallam, had heard that the site had been awarded, was one of the recipients of the Freelands thing. And then I can't remember how I actually first saw the call out. It might have been through Making Ways, or it might just have been
online.
Yeah, maybe I just looked on the site website because I sort of knew it was going to happen. But I didn't realise that it was with other cities as well. I didn't realise how big it was until I kind of properly read about it. But yeah, I think I just sort of heard about it, so then looked on the website. And
how did you find that application and selection process? Because obviously you're probably very used to applying for things, like in comparison to other stuff you've done. How was it?
Oh God, I remember it was really deceptively open. Like it was so kind of open, the questions. And also they asked for like 500 words for each thing, and I was just like, God, I feel a bit sorry for the selection panel that you're asking for like almost 2,000 words and you're going to get a lot of applications. Have you thought this through? Yeah, remember there was me, Yen and Lucy Van all came to the Q&A, and then we went to the showroom afterwards for a drink, and we were talking about how it just seemed so straightforward what they were asking you to write, but that was probably going to be really hard. And I know my first draft was really shit. I sent it to Yen actually, and he rang me up and he was like, no.
Oh, really?
Just do it again. Yeah. Which I'm really glad he said. But it was what I liked about it was, because I find it really difficult to write proposals, and I think what was good about the Freelands was you were talking about a 2-year period, so it meant that you didn't actually have to talk about specific work that you wanted to make. You just had to talk about what you'd done and then kind of where you'd like to get to, but not in terms of like, and then I want to make this, or I want to do this research.
Is that what you often get asked in application forms?
Yeah, well, I was thinking they have a residency at the Art House, which is in Wakefield, which is great. It's like a month-funded residency, and I've applied for that in the past and not got it. And I think the difficulty with writing those, what makes those proposals so difficult, is that basically you're talking about a 4-week period of time, and you don't have to have a piece of work at the end of it, but you actually have to be kind of weirdly specific in your application. You sort of have to sound like you've got stuff that you're going to do, but not so prescriptive that you're not leaving yourself any room, and that it's really hard to strike that. And I know when I sat on the selection panel for a Making Ways open call, and I was reading all these applications, and it's so easy to spot which are the good ones and which are the bad ones, but to kind of understand what the difference is really hard. So what was good about the Freelands was that because it's for 2 years, you were sort of just saying, these are my ideas for where I want to get to, and this is why I kind of feel like this is a really good time for me to do it. And once I'd kind of set down a few pieces of work and kind of made the links to them, that came quite naturally, because I was kind of like, well, it's because I've done this and I've done this, and there seems to be quite a big gap between these, but I don't think there is. So it was actually a really straightforward application process for something that felt quite big.
Long count, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know whether that's just the site's word count or whether that was the free. I think I just.
It was their decision.
I think it was because I'd just done this selection panel. I think I just felt really sorry for the people who were going to have to read all of these words.
Some of the other sites, they had 250 word limit for questions, and I think somebody else found it really hard to keep it down. So actually 500 was probably quite nice.
I felt like 500. I mean, I didn't write 500 for every single bit, but I felt that was actually, to know that you could get up to 500, it was really good. I don't think I'd have been able to fit it all into 250, because I mean, what do you say?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
And then when you got the call, say that you had, or you did have an interview.